Good morning, guys. How y'all today? Guys, today we just gonna hang out here and just talk while I'm putting up this fan. I went to Tractor Supply and got me one of these 30-inch Countyline fans. Says it's powerful up to 8,600 CFM. I think that stands for cubic feet a minute. But years ago I had a squirrel cage fan out of an air conditioner unit hanging right up here, and that thing would really blow some air. Well, the motor went out on it, and I was just gonna buy a replacement motor, but that thing was so old I couldn't get the motor off, or the squirrel cage off the motor shaft, and I just give up on it. And then I hung a 24-inch, one of them what I call a shot fan on the little wheels. Had it hanging up there, but that thing made so much racket. Well, this year the flies is some kind of terrible around here the last week or so. So I took that big fan down and I put it on the porch over there at the front door to help keep the flies blowed away, so when you open the door to go in the house, you wouldn't get as many flies in the house, because, guys, I'm telling you, the flies is terrible. And I thought it's because I had them quail and chickens out there, but everybody you talk to's got the same problem, even if they ain't got chickens and quails and such. But anyway, I broke down and bought another fan to go up here. I went up to the local corner market the other day, and they had this fan hanging up high. And when you walked in, you could just feel the air. And I asked that guy, I said, what kind of fan is that? And he said, it's one of them County-Lines from Tractor Supply. So the next day I went to Tractor Supply, which is in Bastrop, about 30 miles from my house, and purchased me one. So we just gonna get this out and, like I said, hang out and talk. As far as what's been going around here, we've been getting a lot of rain for the last week. Last time I dumped my gauge, I think I done added up to over 6 inches. And it got me behind on yard mowing. Yes, it has. I got about 10 yards to mow, but it's too wet. I got some of them yesterday. You see the sun's out today, but guys, the ground's so wet, a lot of them yards is just too soft, especially with a zero turn, it'll rut them up. So that's what's been going on. Y'all know y'all ain't seen no garden update video in a while, because about the only thing I got going on in the garden right now, still getting some eggplants, still getting some okra. The deer come back one more time, but she didn't get to eat much that night. I guess something run her off. And I put up me some little scare tactics out there again, and she ain't been back, so we've still been getting some okra. And I had some squash coming on that I'd planted. I don't remember if I showed that on the last video where I planted some seeds in the ground. But when I do my next garden update, I'm going to show y'all a clip. Them squash it done got about that tall and had some little squash about that long on it, and the dadgum burnt. Hey, hummingbirds flying at me up under here. The dadgum vine borers come in there and killed them before I ever got the first squash off of them. So I went on and I planted some more squash seeds in the ground, and I got some zucchini coming on for the fall. I planted some tomato seeds straight in the ground out there. I don't know how they gonna do. My indeterminate tomatoes that I've had going on all year, all this rain, they start to put on some growth and some buds and some little tomatoes. But my favorite tomato, my Honey Delight, that little yellow one, the guys during the heat, like, I guess like the first half of August, it was still making tomatoes, but it was so hot and dry, and then we'd get these pop showers. Well, before they get ripe, they just bust wide open. So I just been pulling them off, throwing them away. I'll show y'all after a while. I got some stuff over here seeded up. broccoli and cauliflower. I don't know what all's over there. Cabbage. I got it seeded up. I seeded it indoors, but it's about that tall. It's been sitting out here a few days now, just hardening off. So it won't be but not many more days. We'll be planting our fall garden, and I'm gonna give y'all a garden update and show y'all what's going on. That looks like that's all that's in this box. We're gonna set it over here out of the way. We got our directions here. Now this is a wall mount osculating fan. So the first little box here, ooh, that's pretty heavy. And guys, I normally don't buy extended warranty on nothing. For the Tractor Supply, they had, I think it was $24 and something for a 2-year warranty. And that lady assured me that if anything happens to this fan in 2 years, I don't need my receipt or nothing. Just bring this fan back over there. Now, I know how things are. Probably within a year from now, you'll take it back over and they won't have this exact fan, so I don't know what they'll do about that. She says it's in the computer. I ain't got to worry about keeping up with the receipt. I usually don't have good luck with that warranty stuff, but I did purchase it on this fan. If anything, maybe since I got the extended warranty, it'll last over 2 years and not give me any trouble. That's the best warranty and insurance you can have, is when you ain't got to use it. Don't need it. Especially on insurance. I'm gonna have insurance, but I hope I never need any of it. So far through life, I've been pretty fortunate. Let's see what's in this box. This is gonna be the fan, but I don't know if there's anything else in here or not. Well, you gotta put the fan case together. I see that. It ain't even assembled. Look like it's just going to be the front and back of the cage and the fan blade. We got everything zip tied good. That's one thing there I use boot-coodles of, is zip ties. I use zip ties on all kinds of things. I'm gonna have to put that. More zip ties. Now these are twisted ties here. Guys, I'm gonna take a peek at the directions real quick. Make sure I don't put the top on the bottom or the bottom on the top. So I'm going to take a peek at the directions and then I'll get back with y'all here in just a moment. Alright guys, so first up is just the wall mount where you want it. And I think I know where I want it. I may have to remove it and lower it down, but I took this over and held it up. Kind of getting a look-see. But let's turn around there and we're going to mount this on that pole over here. I'm going to mount it right here to this wood 4x4 post, and it comes with these. I think that's a 14mm socket bolts here, wood bolts, anchor bolts, whatever you want to call them. These are the handiest little tools to have. Battery operated impacts and such. Makes things so fast and easy. And there's going to be a little angle. where I want it. Now let's flip back around over here and see what we got to assemble next. Step 2. Take the back of the shroud and your motor. Remove these little nuts and washers. Now it's got some other little washers on here. Let me see real quick. Alright, so you remove both the big washer, the lock washers, and the nuts. Now I have to go get me a little ratchet or something. I don't know what size that is. That looks like probably about an 8mm. This stuff sold by Tractor Supply, but it's made somewhere over the waters, and everything's gonna be metric. Now this thing has a hole in the screen, and if I looked at that right, you want that facing the bottom. The motor's gonna be something like that. So you want that little hole down here at the bottom. Plus you want your cage here flipped inside out. I was about to put it on wrong. We're gonna put our little face washer on there, our lock washers, and our 4 nuts. I guess a man could mount the motor on his hanger over there and then put this stuff on, but I'm gonna do it in steps they say. And I'm gonna go get me a little wrench to fit this little nut, and I'll be right back again. Yes sir guys, that was 8mm. I was right that time. I occasionally get right about some things. Wrong more than I am right. Occasionally I get something right. Alright guys, the back of the cage is on. Like I said, it just has a nut, a lock washer, and then a little silver washer that's big enough to cover this cage to hold it. So let's see what was next. Like, install the fan blade. Yeah. But you gotta make sure your fan blade's on right. And it's gonna go clockwise. So that'll be like it. And it's got 2 Allen set screws. And I'll be right back again. I gotta go get an Allen wrench out that'll fit them. We're gonna slide them right in place. And it's got a little flat place here where you want to line up for your set screws. I'm assuming, no, it's only got 1 flat space. But the hole in the fan's just round. So I'm assuming one of them will go in that flat spot. It don't say how far to put the fan down on there. Yeah, well it don't tell you, but if you adjust that screw in there till it touches that flat spot, then it only let it go so far. And that pretty makes the shaft kind of flush with the front of the fan blade. Let me go get an Allen wrench now so I can tighten this up before we move on. I don't know what size this Allen head is. One of these in this little set right here fit. I'm gonna tighten that up pretty good. Didn't come with no Loctite or nothing. If I had some, I'd put it on these threads because you don't want these backing out. Alright, next step, take your front yard. have these little clips right here around it. They actually made of metal. And like I said, this hole on the bottom, you want to make sure it's lined up with that hole on the bottom of the other side. But it's got a little screw that goes in there. I think it may be easier to stick that screw in there so that hole will quit moving. Got two little star washers. And a little nut. Guys, that little nut there was almost too little for my fingers. Now we'll see if we can get things lined up here. And get the clamps fastened down. We got it going our directions now, don't we? I'm going to tighten this little screw up right here with this screwdriver. Alright guys, next spot right here, I don't know, I might put this on wrong the first time. It's got this little piece right here. I guess it'll go just like that. Looks like it's got two different settings you can put it in. According to how you want it tilted after you get it up there. We're just going to put it in the straight position to start with. But when you do this, you shouldn't have to remove this bolt. Tighten that one up until I get it up there and in place, in case I want to change it to the other position. So now we're going to take the fan over here, and it comes with a long bolt. I don't know if I'm missing a nut or what. Oh, I done knocked the nut off. Hey guys, I don't know if this thing didn't come with a nut or I knocked it off, but I can't find it, and it's a big nut, but I went in the shed and I had one that fit this bolt. So we're going to take this, put the flat washer on top, and we're going to turn around and hang this fan up. Guys, this is a heavy motor on this. Now this bracket's made where you can set it on top. And I'll show you all close up here in a minute. Or you can mount it on the front, I guess, depending on your situation. Now I'm going to have to tighten that up, because that looks like about the angle I'm going to want it. But I'm going to put this nut on the bottom right here. Which really ain't going to be able to tell until I put it in the osculating mode to see where I need to tighten it to hold it in place. And also, I think right there is going to be right. that. I'm gonna have to tilt it on up some more. That's blowing too straight down, cause I want it to go off over yonder. This little part right here will be different for everyone's situation. But I can see I'm gonna have to lower my bracket because it's touching up there before I get it up straight. I was afraid of that. So let's take this back off. And I'm gonna have to lower my bracket down. I'm gonna go and lower it about 1.5 inches. I only need about just a little bit, but I'm gonna go on and lower it about 1.5 inches to make sure I'm down far enough. Lay this over here out the way. Know that one that I put in there on that angle is going to give me trouble now. Have to go get her. Now we're back to where we were. So let's set it back on there and see what happens. First off, I ain't even gonna tighten nothing back here until I see what this is gonna do. And there we go, guys. Let's see how far it's going to oscillate. That's going to be just... Uh-oh. I'll have to move this around here a little bit. Going too far that way. I'm going to have to tighten this now. Alright. Let me give me a wrench to tighten it. Alright guys, I think I got everything locked down where I want it. Let's test it. There's low. But what I don't see is a way to keep it from oscillating if you just want it to blow in one direction. More read the directions, some more to see. Alright guys, I'm gonna get y'all over here. The only drawback to this fan that I see is you can't just push a switch or something other to make it stop oscillating and stay in one place. You got to remove this screw and put it in a different position back here. This is a 12mm screw. Now, I don't know how well y'all can see this, but right here you have to remove this screw and move it over to the center hole, and that also points my fan in the wrong direction, I can see. So what I may do is take me something, maybe take this screw out with my little wire welder and weld me something I can just do it with my fingers and not need a wrench, in case I ever want to put it in oscillating mode. It'll be easier to do. But they should have made this where, like other fans, you flip a switch or something other and it won't oscillate. Cause now it's pointed in the wrong position, which I got it tight enough I can turn it like that right there. Alright guys, so that's the Countyline 30-inch oscillating fan. So far, I can tell you already that's the best fan that I've ever had out here because it puts off a big wave, and I can sit back there on that bar and it's got paper moving back there and it's just on a medium speed. So I'm gonna like that fan. That comes from the Tractor Supply in case y'all want one of them. So let's talk about what's going to be planting in the garden coming up for the fall. We got some Catarina cabbage, some amazing cauliflower, we got some broccoli, green magic broccoli, we got some red Russian kale, we got some rainbow Swiss chard, some more, let's see, Brussels sprouts. And then we have some prism kale. And down here we have celery. So that's what's going to be getting planted here in the next few days, and y'all will see a good garden update of what's still going on out there and what we're going to be planting to have for our fall. Plus we're going to plant some mustard greens and turnip greens in the ground out there. I think I'm going to plant rutabagas instead of mustard greens. Guys, I want to show y'all what I got yesterday. Me and Colton has us a John Deere LA 130 to pull our wagon around outside with now instead of the old Cub Cadet. Guys, I had that old Cub Cadet for years. As a matter of fact, it was gifted to me because setting up, guy gave it to me and I brought it home and got it running. But it's got some kind of transmission issues. I done changed the belts on it way back, but it don't go very fast at all. And sometimes you have to sit there and work the pedal to make it even get started. But it's been doing this thing out here just to pull our trutters around. But my nephew, or my niece, really does the mowing. This lawnmower they've had for several years, but it got to where it wouldn't crank. And this whole last year, she's been turning this here to get the compression off so it would crank so she could mow the yard. Well, the other day they bought them a brand new zero turn. They had this lawnmower over and he said, asked me if I wanted it. I said, yeah, you just gonna throw it away. I said, nothing else. I'll take the motor off the Cub Cadet, put on here and just have something pull around out here in the yard. I brought this home, guys, and I done asked him had he adjusted the valves on this yet, and he didn't do it. But in about 20 minutes I adjusted the valves, and it would crank, but it was still, I could tell it was sluggish. Well, I looked at the battery, and it was an old battery, even though it was saying it was fully charged on the charger, but I took the battery out of the Cub Cadet, and it's like a 400 and something cold cranking ounce to where the one that was in here wasn't but 3 something. So adjusting the valves and putting a battery in here, me and Colton's got us a John Deere tractor to run around out here, pull our garden trailer and play on now. Plus, it still moves, ain't nothing wrong with it, don't use no oil. Fires that up. If I'm reading this right, it says it's got 754 hours on it. Now I know he totally rebuilt the deck a couple of years ago, put new bearings in all the spindles and new belts. So it's probably got a couple hundred hours on the new bearings and such. But that was a pretty good deal with it. Now I called him back and I asked my niece, I called her and I said, how much you love me? Well, that throws her for a loop for a minute. I said, well, how much you love me? She said, I love you a lot. I said, well, if you want your lawnmower back so you have a spare, just come on and get it. I fixed it. Wasn't no internal problems. But they told me to just keep it over here for me and Colton to play on, and if they ever needed a backup lawnmower, they knew they could come over here. I got 2 0 turns in this one, and the old Cub Cadet, it is better than a push lawnmower. But anyway, Colton ain't here today, so he gonna be proud when he gets home to see Papaw got him a John Deere tractor. Guys, I was looking at this thing, fan came with a cable. I guess if you hung this up high and you scared it might fall, it's got a safety cable that you could hook on it, but I don't think it's going nowhere. So I saved that cable and the little clamps, who knows. May use it later on for something. Even send an extra leg screw. So guys, hope y'all enjoyed hanging out today. Probably gonna do more stuff like this, just hanging out, not really no how-to videos. I guess that could be a little how-to assembling that if somebody wanted to do it, but I really didn't show the close-ups on doing stuff. I wasn't actually doing a how-to video. I just was videoing why I'm doing something. But I hope you enjoyed hanging out today, because I enjoyed all of y'all my YouTube family and friends. And guys, I hope y'all have a great day. God bless. See y'all next time.